This dog wants to get on the bus. It's clear there are no other passengers, but the driver refuses to let the dog in. Despite luring the dog toward the bus, he has never seen such a persistent dog. Even though there were no people around, the dog didn't want to enter. The driver closed the door, leaving the poor dog standing there alone. Unexpectedly, the next day, Thornton, the driver, was struck by the same dog, bringing him back to his senses. He became angry, scolding and chasing the dog away. It's unclear why the dog tried to get close to the bus, but on another day, even though the dog didn't eat any food from the driver, it still stayed close to the bus. Thornton couldn't understand why this dog kept approaching him. He tried to bring the dog closer, but the dog bit him. Even though he found the dog interesting, he still drove away, not wanting to be near it. One day, he saw the dog standing in the middle of the road in the distance. At that moment, a vehicle appeared, and Thornton, realizing the dog was in danger, quickly turned around to stop the vehicle. The driver opened the car door, and the dog ran away, leaving Thornton standing there in disbelief. He never thought he would be so concerned for a dog, especially when he only ever drove fancy cars to work. Thornton couldn't stop marveling at how smart the dog was. But one day, when he visited a construction site, he witnessed something that changed his perception of the dog. The dog's determination, even eating raw chicken to survive, impressed him. The dog looked at Thornton as if asking for help. Thornton couldn't stand by anymore, so he helped the dog. When things settled down, the surroundings became quiet. However, an unconvinced bald man confronted Thornton, sparking tension. The bald man tried to act tough, but Buck, the dog, grew angry. The man soon backed down, and Buck, now following Thornton, was taken into his care. Thornton regularly brought Buck on walks, and the two became close. They enjoyed each other's company, inseparable from each other, but their happiness didn't last long. One day, Buck had an accident in a remote area. A cat growled at Buck, and he barked back fiercely, but Buck eventually backed down. Despite his pride, Buck couldn't win. Thornton was devastated by Buck's accident. Because of this, Thornton began to cherish every moment with Buck even more. Their relationship became strained, but Buck remained loyal. One day, on a bus full of people, a girl named Anna appeared and tried to steal Buck's collar. The workers on the bus laughed at Anna's bold attempt, but Buck defended his collar, using his head to push her away. When Thornton entered the bus, he noticed Anna. Although she tried to steal from Buck, Thornton felt sympathy for her. The two quickly formed a bond, but Buck, left outside, watched with concern. Thornton thought Buck was jealous, but he didn't realize the deeper bond the dog felt for him. One fateful day, Thornton didn't return home. He had gotten into a fight with the workers, who overpowered him. While everyone seemed to move on, Buck, unaware of Thornton's fate, waited patiently by the door, hoping his owner would return. Days passed, and Buck still waited. Workers at the site told him to stop waiting because his owner wasn't coming back, but Buck remained determined. Despite having no clear path ahead, Buck made a brave decision. One day, Buck arrived at Thornton's workplace, surprising the workers. They had assumed Buck had run away, but it seemed Buck came to confirm whether Thornton was still there. The workers watched as Buck, realizing Thornton was gone, expanded his search, traveling through towns and even deserts, but his efforts were in vain. Still, Buck didn't give up. He traveled far and wide, searching for Thornton, even crossing deserts and reaching far-off lands like Australia. For years, Buck searched, believing that Thornton must be somewhere. Even though Buck searched tirelessly, his efforts were fruitless. In the end, after years of searching, Buck's heart broke. He returned home, realizing that Thornton may have already passed. He revisited familiar places, but Thornton was nowhere to be found. Buck wandered, lost in his grief, but found himself returning to Anna's house, where she greeted him with relief. She didn't know what Buck had been through, but was happy he had returned home. However, danger soon approached. A parking lot manager spotted Buck and threatened to shoot him. But Buck wasn't easy to bully. He sought help from his friends at the construction site to get justice. The manager fled, scared, leaving behind a forgotten bag. Buck now prepared to avenge Thornton. At this point, the conflict between cats and dogs escalated. Buck and the cat fought fiercely, causing chaos wherever they went. They clashed fiercely, but when Buck realized the cat's owner was also gone, the fight ended. The two, both filled with loss, looked at each other and finally made peace. From then on, the cat and Buck became unlikely friends. Buck became a legend in the town, winning medals and earning the title of the town's guardian. But it wasn't long before Buck faced his final challenge. One day, Buck collapsed, his breathing heavy. Not wanting to worry anyone, Buck quietly left, walking alone on the train tracks. As his body aged and weakened, Buck knew his time was near. Despite his failing strength, Buck returned to Thornton's house one last time. In his final moments, Buck's journey ended. Thornton, having passed, met Buck in another world, where they were finally reunited, never to be separated again.